Hey guys, Sen here. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I've never seen anyone on YouTube make a video trying to teach people how to scout bases, probably because it's not a very clickbaity idea, but it's one of the most important skills if you want to get good at this game, not just in Clan Capital, but especially in Clan Capital though, with the instant training times, it's so convenient to change your army and adapt it to the base. So scouting is such a powerful tool to make sure that you are set up for success when you hit the attack button. So this is going to be a video with just 2 attacks, but I'm going to walk you through my entire thought process on how I arrive at those plans. Let's kick things off with a barbarian camp, and I know that this is generally considered the most difficult base because it's worth the most gold because it has the most defenses, but also it's got those nasty rocket artilleries. These ones are maxed, as well as those giant posts, which are super annoying. So let's see how we can get this done. So when you're scouting a base, you usually have to know what are the best strategies for it. So those are usually going to be the first instincts that you look towards. So I always think about rocket balloons and lightning spells against the barbarian camp, at least before graveyard. We're not going to talk about graveyard in this video. So lightning spells on this base, they're not going to get too much value. A lot of the air defenses are super spaced out inside the base, and so it's kind of hard to get too much value out of your zaps. So I sort of ruled out rocket balloons very quickly against this base, but as you attack more bases in the Clan Capital, get more experience with developing plans and scouting bases, you start seeing these similarities between bases and differences between bases, sort of these themes that you can know how to exploit. So on this barbarian camp, unlike other barbarian camps that I see, I quickly noticed that if I'm able to get in archers into this compartment in the middle here, I'm going to be able to access all of the major splash defenses on the base. That means both of the rocket artilleries and both of the giant cannons. So even though Barbarian Camp is known to be very difficult for hogs, I quickly see that hogs are a viable finisher for this strategy, and rocket balloons might be a little bit more difficult. And then it's a matter of how you're going to break inside the base. So you can see there's a lot of defenses on the outside over here, and they're all point defenses. So my first instinct is the Larry barrels, but this multi-mortar is pretty well placed, and that's going to shut down the Larrys unless you're able to tank for it with like a giant, and that just seems really jank. And so Larry barrels is just a quick no-no for me. I can use one Larry barrel to take out the spear thrower and work up the left side of the base, but I figure there has to be something better. And the other thing about scouting bases is you have to understand the troops. In the Clan Capital, the training times are instant, so there's no reason to not switch around your army between attacks. But you also have to know, especially when you're up against better bases, what is the best way to take out a section of the base. And because there's a multi-mortar here, I can't exploit it with the Larrys, but what I do see is that there are no air defenses down here. So there's 2 air defenses that are farther away, but there are a bunch of spear throwers. But what will do good against spear throwers when there's no air defenses in the area is a flying fortress. So a fortress can clear all of these defenses down here and open up the map, so I can start deploying troops up the left side or the right side of the base. I choose the left side of the base because the right side of the base might get a little awkward with this giant post over here. If I'm able to work up the left side through this compartment over here, I'm going to be able to push through all of these defenses without having to worry about those giants ever, because those giants, if they start walking towards me, they're going to start wasting my time, and so I want to avoid them completely by working up the left side of the base. So if we use that fortress can just 1v1 all of these spear throwers one at a time, and then grab a bunch of other defenses before it finally gets shot by one of the air defenses. I don't care which side it goes to, but I suspect because I'm going to be dropping it on this spear thrower on the left side, it's going to die on the left side of the map. So after all that goes down, it comes down to visualizing the base after all those defenses go down. Imagine that the map expands after you drop a barb in behind to clear all these defenses or these trash buildings. If you're able to drop a couple of barbs down south, it'll clear all these trash buildings, and then we can start deploying troops towards this multi-cannon. So now, how am I going to deal with this section over here? There's a multi-cannon, a spear thrower, and a ton of air defenses. I see that I can either use a cannon cart or a P.E.K.K.A. I choose a P.E.K.K.A. because if I can use some rams to open up some walls as well as distract these point defenses, a P.E.K.K.A. can work through all these air defenses afterwards. And then afterwards, finally, it is time to bring a couple more packs of archers to see what we can get on this backside of the base. I even bring some lightning spells to finish off these rapid rockets in case they ever get any funny ideas at shooting at my fortress, but those lightning spells were kind of wasted. I probably should just use them for another rage spell on my archers or the P.E.K.K.A. But now let's see this plan in action. We're going to try to work into this compartment like I said at the beginning so we can start getting our archers inside and trying to pick off all these splash buildings. Even though I don't love using hogs against barbarian camps, there's still a bunch of bomb towers. That fortress should be able to get this multi-mortar and definitely one of these bomb towers before it goes down. So if we're able to grab all these key defenses in the middle and have 2 heal spells for our hogs on the second blow, we should be able to get through this. And you can see also a bunch of Mega Hidden Teslas are popping on my fortress. That is just bonus value. The fortress is so good at dealing with those Mega Hidden Teslas, whereas the rocket balloons just get melted by them. Another Tesla pops over here. Another one's going to go down to the fortress. So that fortress is still at half health. It's getting shot down by this spear thrower. I didn't bring any balloons for it. I don't want to invest too much into the fortress because I know it's not going to be able to push too much farther once it starts getting range of the air defense. But we'll just try to let it get as much as it can. Take out a Tesla, take out a multi-cannon, and see how much damage it can get on that bomb tower. It's really low, so there's no way it's going to finish that off before the air defense goes down. But we'll have a couple more barbarians left in camp to finish off that bomb tower afterwards. And now it's time for the second phase of the attack where we're going to drop in the P.E.K.K.A. So I used the P.E.K.K.A. instead of some archers because I only have 1 rage spell in the comp. Like I said, I could have just used a second rage spell instead of the zaps, but I went with the zaps and we're going to make do with it. The P.E.K.K.A. without the help of the rage is going to be a lot better than the archer, so it's going to finish off this multi-cannon, multi-mortar, and the spear thrower, but I actually mess up a little bit in that I drop in my next ram going towards this air defense, and it opens up this junction wall, so the P.E.K.K.A. actually strays on me and goes towards the multi-cannon, so it doesn't go towards the bomb tower like I wanted it to. But it's fine, it's gonna grab the multi-cannon before it dies. You can see the P.E.K.K.A. in the clan capital just isn't that strong, but it's still gonna get a swipe on that multi-cannon, and with the death damage it gets that multi-cannon down. And now it's just time with the rage spell. A couple more packs of archers that we'll fast forward through. I don't know exactly how much we can get with the archers because we had to plan a couple steps ahead with the fortress and the P.E.K.K.A. You can't always plan the entire attack, but you can usually plan a lot of your troops and just bring whatever left over as archers, loons, or hogs. So we're definitely going to have a bunch of packs of archers, as well as you can see I have a P.E.K.K.A. in the tank for this attack. I noticed that if I grab, I can use some archers to grab these cannons as well as this rocket artillery over here, but the backside defenses, they're not going to be covered by the rage spell, and once again, the archers just are not as effective without the help of a rage spell. I will absolutely need 2 heals because there's going to be a lot of bombs on the backside, so I don't want to risk bringing only 1 heal with the hogs. I will not commit another one, another spell for the archers, so I'm just going to bring the P.E.K.K.A. to sweep through the last couple of key splash defenses. And I even preemptively heal over this bomb tower. Look at how there's 2 2x2 spaces between it, as well as the Tesla and the air defense and the bomb tower. So just pre-heal through all that and make sure the hogs are healthy through it. A couple more packs of archers to finish off this rocket artillery as well as the multi-mortar, and we'll just send in the P.E.K.K.A. to try to sweep through whatever is left on the back side of the base. Once that's all down, we have to make sure that we go fast. This is the second attack. We don't want to run into any time issues. So once that final archer goes down, we'll send in the P.E.K.K.A. and then start in with our hog raiders. So with the hog raiders, you want to make sure that you stun as many defenses as you can on the entry, because that is the power of the strategy. So a ram to tank those first couple of defenses on the approach, so we can make sure that those hog gliders make it towards the defenses. And once those defenses are stunned, those hog raiders can work through all of those. That P.E.K.K.A. is still working through, finishing off that one last cannon, and we're just holding on to our hog gliders. We have that heal down, so we don't need too many hogs down at once. Stun that spear thrower. We're going to stun this backside cannon and try to hopefully heal through that backside multi-mortar. Try to hold the last heal because there's a lot of 2x2 spaces on the backside over here, but We're definitely going to have it covering that bomb tower and a couple more hog gliders on the backside to converge on those last few defenses. So even though this is a barbarian camp, we're able to smash this base with a ton of healthy hog raiders on the backside, identifying that a lot of the key splash defenses that are the major threats to the hogs were all grouped up in the middle there to where we can assassinate them with archers, and then knowing that a flying fortress can deal with all those spear throwers and non-air defenses on the bottom side, was able to break down the base super nicely and take this barbarian camp out in two with none other than the hog raiders. Up next, we have a builder's workshop, and always the first thing that I do when I'm scouting a base is try to look at what is unusual about the base. So this builder's workshop, unlike some of the other ones that I run into, you can see how many air defenses are all down here. So Rocket Loon finish, it just feels right to me. There's only a couple of air defenses left on the backside if we're able to clear all this stuff, so Rocket Balloons just seem like such an easy bet against this. And now, how am I going to take them out? If you've watched the cannon car video lately that I posted maybe like 2 videos ago, you know exactly what we're going to go in with against this base because it's super wide open. There's not that many compartments that we have to open up, and we will have access to so much air value on this base, and those cannon cars can absolutely roll through this base. So I usually prefer, if I'm going to go with cannon carts, I want to make sure that I don't get flanked by too many defenses. So there's sort of 2 angles that I could try to enter from. I could either go from the bottom over here towards this giant cannon, or the higher angle from over here and try to go towards this giant cannon over here. So if I try to go towards this giant cannon over here with all my troops, sort of push through these 2 bridges, I figure that my troops are sort of going to split on this blast bow. Some are going to go north, and then some are going to go south, and they're going to get picked off by these giant cannons over here. So this top entry over here just feels wrong to me. I usually try to go towards angles where I feel like I have more control over where the troops are going to go, as well as they're going to get flanked by fewer defenses. So the bottom angle just feels more natural to me. So in order to get to this bottom angle, I first will have to clear some of these trash buildings, and then also deal with these few defenses over here. So these are point defenses, and so the raid cart is going to be super good at spawning those barbarians, and those barbarians can tank these point defenses for the raid carts to finish all of this off. We also want to make sure that we have a couple of rams going ahead. They'll provide some more distraction, as well as, more importantly, pull zap traps. You should also know what traps are inside a base, and Builder's Workshop has a ton of those zap traps that defenders like putting on the outside of the base. And so we're going to try to push in this bottom side with 3 cannon carts, but you can see I actually have a 4th cannon cart. Another trick that I like to do sometimes is if I say my troops start pushing through this bottom side over here, I usually like cutting them off. So I will use my 4th cannon cart and a couple of other troops to take out this giant cannon over here, so the rest of my troops can just focus in on this thin strip of defenses and not get flanked by anything. So that is sort of the plan with this one. We'll have a few giants, a Larry barrel just in case I see a spot on the fly that I see that there's no splash defenses covering. The cannon car attack is a lot more, I would say, on the fly adjustments, but you should know, sort of have a general idea of where you're going to be sending your troops. So I have 5 giants. This is sort of my usual army, like 8 rams or so, and then like 5 barbs. So 1 barb down south, clear this Pekka barrack, and open up the map so we can start deploying our raid carts closer to the defenses. A ram will go ahead, like I said, test for some zap traps, as well as tank the defenses, especially with the help of the barbarians. And without any other troops, we'll be able to work through that first section over there. We'll even have a barbarian up top to clear some of those other trash buildings for the second attack. And now it's time to go with 1 battle ram to test for some traps. There's not really that many traps over there, but the raid carts are also going to be able to finish off those 2 point defenses and then move further inside the base. And as they do, we'll make sure that we tank the giant cannon with the ram, and then some of the other defenses with the giant, some barbarians, and some more giants. This is all on the fly. You have to see what defenses are going to focus on your cannon carts and know the best way to tank for them. So at this point, we even drop in our second or our fourth raid cart on the right side of the base, tank for it with a giant and some rams and some more barbarians to go inside. A Larry barrel up the left side of the base because I see that the blast bow is focused on the middle group of troops, and so those Larrys up the left side can take those cannons as well as those Teslas that just popped, which is really nice. The blast bow actually shoots at the Larrys, but you can see the blast bow splash radius is actually pretty darn pathetic, and so it's not going to be able to take out all the Larrys, and so the cannon carts are still moving. Actually, I didn't really have a plan for the spells. Actually, I did have a plan for the spells, and that was to throw in the river. Look at how far those cannon carts are pushing. They're even going to finish off this district hall on this first attack. They're not going to finish off all the air defenses and the Mega Hidden Tesla over here because I decided to goof and send in my spells on the river, but I figured that I know the limits of my troops and I know that they will not need any spells to work through all of those defenses, which I was right about. Now, on this finishing blow, I see that there is a spear throw up the right side, as well as a multi-cannon over there. Now you can see I sent in a ram as well as a pack of minions to finish off the spear thrower, so the minions can also finish off all these trash buildings. Also, a rocket balloon is susceptible to zap traps, so the minions I feel are just more natural. So the minions can work through all these trash buildings, and then I'll be able to deploy troops closer to this backside blast over here. And so we're going to just blast through the rest of this base with rocket balloons. I will not go into too much more detail. That first attack, trying to set everything up, was the key to success here. And now we just have 14 rocket balloons, and there's just not that much anti-air left on the base, especially because this air bombs and this blast bow is super exposed over here. 2 Teslas pop once we reach 51%, but I mean, 14 rocket balloons, 14 packs of rocket balloons, and yeah. You'll see, it's just a matter of technique. We'll also wait for those minions to start getting in range of the air bombs. So the way you know that the air bombs is distracted is notice how it sort of ticks. It sort of wiggles a little bit. That's how you know it's locked onto the minions. And then I send in the rocket balloons, and now it's just time to swarm the backside of the base. A bunch of rocket balloons down south to clear through all the Teslas. You can go heavier when you know that there's no splash defenses, especially against Teslas that will fire at 2 balloons at once, so you kind of want to overwhelm them, but at this point, it's just time to Exodia swag. We have tons of rocket balloons, some more troops left in the camp, and we're just going to throw all of our spells on the river, and that was a nice takedown of this Builder's Workshop. Alright, that went on a little bit longer than I thought it would. Let me know down below what you think of this series. Should I do another one? Should I do live attacks for the next one? I'd be interested to know. But like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video, and take care.